Hey guys, today we got a couple more details on the Taken King, kind of expanding on what we talked about yesterday. So there was an 18-minute long interview done by IGN with Deej, and although this did not cover Game Informer levels of content, there were some clarifications kinda made. After writing the entire script for this video is a bit on the speculative side in the second half, so apologies for that. I will specify when things are speculation. First, they discuss pledging allegiances to factions. This is done one at a time, and so mainly you don't have to wear the class item anymore. Pledging allegiance to these factions unlocks specific bounties for that faction and specific rewards. You shouldn't just be opening up faction reward packages and hoping for something. This sounds more like a defined path into getting stuff that you might be chasing, the ship and shader specifically, although Deej did not outright mention those things. The Taken King seeks to give a more direct path to the things that you want overall. They want to take out a lot of the guesswork. Classes will also be getting specific rewards and items, including their own class-specific weapons. Next, we have a little gameplay of the first story mission, but I'll keep this brief to avoid gameplay spoilers. The enemies are level 25 in this clip. The first mission takes place on Phobos, but this is the only thing that is played on Phobos. Phobos is not an explorable area in the Taken King. The Cabal sent out a distress signal, and that's very weird because they're super secretive. If you want to go see more, I think a lot of the UK YouTubers have been uploading footage of this mission, or you can go to the IGN interview, which is posted in the description. Next, we hear a little bit more about the Dreadnought Ship, which we've talked about a little bit. It's a patrol mode, it holds strikes, its own bounties, but something new was mentioned called the Court of Oryx, which is a player-instigated public event that will put you up against bosses in different scenarios. It is important to note that Court of Oryx is not like Prison of Elders. It is not its own thing you select in the menu screen. You just go to the Dreadnought and you make something happen together with your fire team. King's Fall is the new raid, and it is, quote, the biggest raid we've, Bungie, ever done. Although the difficulty levels were not mentioned. My guess would be that we would have a normal and hard mode at the very least. Next up, we have a little kinda more clarification on the light level system. Light is no longer tied to your actual level. You will reach the level cap, level 40, via experience gains, and then that'll be it. You'll hit max level. However, light is still very much a stat in the game, where light determines, quote, how powerful you are. Certain missions will give you a recommended light level, and so you should aim for that amount of light if you want to succeed in the mission. It sounds like the penalty for being under-leveled is gone, but that is just speculation, as much as it would be a great idea. Let me try to explain. Right now, you suffer massive penalties to your damage and defense if you are one level below your enemy. That's what makes something like Prison of Elders level 35 more difficult. You're level 34 shooting a level 35. With this new light level system, it seems like light is basically a score that your characters have that determines how strong you really are. Now, if you're a level 40 fighting a level 41, there still might be a penalty, but the penalty will be tied to light and not your level. Once again, speculation. It sounds like they are trying to stop these staircase power gains for more ramp-like power gains, smaller gains over time. So for example, a level 33 fighting a 34 is a massive loss in damage in PvE. But let's say you have 90 light, a number I made up, and you're fighting in a mission that recommends 95 light. Right now, if you went into that mission with the current system, you do no damage. With the new system, you'd still be able to get through the mission, and your damage penalty might only be a couple of percentage points. I'll give you another example. Yes, it's a World of Warcraft example, but it'll help explain the situation a little bit more. Once again, mainly speculative. World of Warcraft uses something called item levels. Basically, the piece of gear that you have in every slot gets a score. You add all of them up, divide by how many pieces of armor and weapons you have on, and you get an average. So with the new expansion, when you hit the level cap, you were maybe around 590 item level. Regular dungeons at the level cap dropped items that were item level 615, and the dungeons more or less were tuned around that number. Now you could still go do those normal dungeons at below the item level that they are tuned for, and if you were good enough, you could get through them. However, and this is the most important part, item levels in World of Warcraft did not affect your actual power. It was just more of a guideline to tell you how strong you are. Light levels in Destiny sound like they will affect your actual power, but also telling you how strong you are, but just done in a way that doesn't make it so 1 point of light is the difference between a massive power gain. 1 light in this new system would have a very small increase in power, whereas 1 light level used to be a massive power gain. I hope I didn't make that more confusing. It sounded good coming out. Basically, instead of light being like this, a staircase, it'll be more like this, a ramp. You'll have steady power gains as opposed to giant ones only obtained when reaching a new level. Now we get to a very important question, and that is, what is going to happen to my level when the Taken King comes out? Am I going to be level 20, or am I going to be level 34, or whatever level I am now? Deej had the following to say on that. Quote, "You'll take your first step into the Taken King at the level you've attained, and there's new things for you to do to reach new and higher levels." End quote. Well, this could be interpreted 2 ways. The level you attained could be referring to your light level, which for a lot of you would be level 33 or level 34. However, technically speaking, we're all level 20, but all light level 34. So does he mean the base level, which is 20, or your light level, which is 34? It's unclear. Fran, the interviewer, then asked what would happen to his level 26 Warlock. Is he locked at level 26? And Deej says, quote, "You're good to go." If you'll remember from a couple of minutes ago, the level of the story mission that they were playing, which is supposedly the first story mission, was level 25. So here's my wild speculation on this new quote-unquote info. If you're above level 20, you'll probably keep those levels. So if you're level 34, you're probably going to be level 34 when the Taken King comes out. If you're level 29, then you'll be 29. I think if we were going to be level 20, Deej would have outright said that we were going to be level 20. Plus, we all remember the fiasco of having to re-level our exotics in the Dark Below. This is kind of along the same lines. If you're worried about that affecting your leveling experience through the Taken King, my guess will be that there will be multiple difficulties for each mission, like right now, but that is all just a guess. A notable thing added here is that every player will be getting a consumable that will instantly boost a character to the minimum level required to play the Taken King when you boot up the Taken King. What is that minimum level? Well, it's still unknown, unfortunately, so we don't have any more answers there. Beyond that, they spoke about some other things that we've already discussed, talked about the desire for weapons to have more variety and how there's going to be a massive addition of weapons into the game, customization, etc. They had a chat about the G-Horn and its power and all that kind of stuff, and how stuff in PvP like Thorn has been dominant for too long, and a good amount of the footage shows auto rifles actually being pretty good again, which is nice. There was also a clip of a fusion rifle getting some critical hits, very interesting. I don't know if that applies to PvE as well, but that could be something that brings fusion rifles back into the limelight at least a little bit. They also talk about Year 1 weapons and their relevance, and basically, while Year 1 weapons will still be usable in regular Crucible, where power doesn't matter, and still usable for stuff at lower levels, you're gonna be using the new weaponry in the Taken King. Ultimately, I think that's a good thing. Also, it only took about 2 Titan hammers to destroy a Ward of Dawn, so it's nice to see that Ward of Dawn will continue to be useless in PvP. That is all I have for you guys on something. Did I actually give any confirmed news in this video? Yeah, towards the beginning. Okay. If you want to watch the full IGN interview, it is in the description. Also, if you haven't seen it yet, Luke Smith did a pretty funny interview with Game Informer for yesterday's reveal for them. I highly suggest going and checking it out. There were a couple of notable things like,
will we ever get more skins for our ghosts?
This fall.
But you should go watch the whole video. It was definitely worth a watch. That'll do it for me though. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.